But apart from that, it's pretty safe to say this is a mermaid, right? Let's take a closer look at it. The body's lower half is identical to a fish's tail. If this was a fish, it'd be a pretty huge one. It would seem like the fish half of the body begins from the shoulders downwards. All the mermaids I've ever heard of have had the fish half start from the waist down. If it is a fake, maybe whoever made it didn't do their research? Really? Several of the mermaids described in old Japanese legends had their faces as the only human part, though. Seriously? Guess that makes me the one who didn't do their research then. As you can see, there's no doubt it has a human head. That's the main reason we went ahead with treating it as a corpse. That makes sense. I can't imagine anyone would have seen a creature like this before, after all. If it really is a mermaid, wouldn't this be a pretty huge discovery? It's not the sort of thing we'll be able to make public, that's for sure. I don't suppose we have any way of confirming their identity. Their identity? Given the state of the body, it'd probably be difficult to confirm based on facial features, but we might have a chance using dental records. Though, that would depend on if they've ever had a dental exam. I see. That makes sense. Honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards it being a fake of some kind. What do you think? It's true that many of the mermaid mummies discovered were ultimately found to have been man-made in origin. You won't find me complaining if it is. No need to investigate a fake corpse, after all. Maybe that's being too optimistic, though. We'll just have to see about that, won't we? When I first saw this expression, I thought they must have died in unbelievable agony. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like they looked almost satisfied? Could be my imagination, though. Satisfied. If this really is a corpse, then I wonder where they died. I doubt their body would have ended up this desiccated if it had been in the sea this whole time. You think there's a possibility that they died shriveled up into a mummy-like state when their body fell into the sea and got what? I can't do that voice anymore. It makes for quite the enigma, that's for sure. There's no sign of external wounds. I can't see anything that could have caused the death, at least. If we really do have a mermaid on our hands. Do you think all those stories about becoming immortal from eating mermaid flesh are true? Oh, so you're curious about that too, Detective? Well, I don't know if I'd actually want to eat it, though. Living forever doesn't necessarily mean you'll be happy, you know. Besides, I can't say I find the thought of eating meat from this thing all that appealing. I see. I suppose that's a natural response. But there are plenty of people who would be interested in getting their hands on this corpse for that exact reason. I can see that. I might even have people fighting over it if it gets out. All the more reason to try and keep it hidden. Sure is a troublesome thing we've got in our hands here. Well, I think we have a decent grasp of the situation now. What's your opinion, Soto? First of all, based on the state of the corpse, I think it's safe to say that this is another case of the curse of the Forsaken Fish. Some of the residual curse energy is still lingering around the body. Just as expected, then, I suppose. That's no surprise. What was that just now? We'll try to explain our understanding of the case so far, Detective. I realize some of it might sound a bit absurd, but please, bear with us. This corpse is neither a fake, nor could it be called a mermaid. It is the remains of a human, one transformed into a fish as the result of a curse. What, a former human? And a curse too? It's pretty hard to know what to say to that. One thing's for sure. It's not going to fly in the case report by itself. Mind explaining a bit more for me? Of course. Let's start with an explanation of our circumstances then. I'll let you handle the explanation now. Of course, leave it to me. In return, I'll be counting on you to handle the report. Hold on. First, I suppose I should start with a brief explanation of the department I work for. Wait, aren't you part of some secret department in the security division over in Tokyo? Our work is mostly kept in secret because it's something of a pain to find people who will accept, let alone understand, the circumstances each time. But you've been very supportive so far, so I can't imagine that will be a problem. Well, if you really insist, go ahead, I guess. As you say, my department is indeed part of the security division. Its proper name is the Paranormal Affairs Bureau. Called it, called it, called it, called it. Although, if there really are cases of spiritual phenomena causing harm around the place, I guess it's not that hard to believe there'd be some sort of organization to deal with them within the police. Precisely. I'm glad you're so quick on the uptake. Well, after seeing that corpse over there, there's not much else I can do but believe it, you know? Does that mean you have spirit sense or some other sort of psychic powers? Not to any notable degree, I'm afraid. As I mentioned, I'm primarily a housewife. If you ask me, I would rather sort this all out than get back home to my husband as soon as possible. Right. Soto here was my husband's protege when he used to work as a psychic, though. He helps me out in any work I'm assigned to. I'm responsible for handling any spiritual work that comes up, yes. Spiritual work, huh? Hearing you say that like it's just another job really makes me feel like we're talking about another industry entirely. But if you really are just a housewife, Miss Shiki, why are you working for a specific special unit like that? I know it's none of my business, but if your husband is a psychic, wouldn't all this be more in his line of work? True. Personally, I'd also rather our roles were reversed. But there are several reasons why that unfortunately can't be the case. So, does that mean that you came all the way to Mie because you knew something like this was gonna happen? Oh, that's awfully perceptive of you, Detective. I suppose you could say that, yes. At the very least, the situation hasn't come as a huge surprise. If that's the case, was the body from the other day? Hi, Soto. Unidentified skeletons. H. milf. It was indeed, yes. Seriously? That does sound like a pain to deal with. I bet our chief knew all about this when he assigned me to the case. If it lessens the burden, then you've been a great help to us so far, Detective. Still, I never would have thought that there's a curse out there that can turn people into fish. And it only half worked, so the victim ended up looking like a mermaid. That's bound to cause misunderstandings. The curse was originally meant to turn a person's whole body into that of a fish, you see. But the victim died before the transformation was complete, so it stopped before it could reach that point. The vast majority of mermaids discovered over the years are either man-made fakes or victims of the same curse. I see. To be honest, part of me was kind of excited when I saw what it looked like. I thought it might mean there are really mermaids out there, you know, exactly like the ones you hear about in stories. I'm afraid we can either confirm or deny things there. Oh, I get where you were asking about the corpse's identity now. It's because you realized they used to be human, right? That's right. Very recently, too. The transformation likely happened yesterday, or even earlier today. What, that recently? Someone could really end up in a state like this after just a day? They certainly could. Seriously? These curses sure are scary. This looks like a BL game. A little bit. It's not, but you know, a little bit. Even if a spirit were able to successfully possess someone, it would only be able to pressure them to behave in ways that wouldn't be unusual for the individual in question. I see, but in that case, there's no way of knowing whether you're behaving that way of your own will or not, right? Exactly, hence the prevalence of cases where people don't even realize they're possessed. So that's how things work there. As far as I know, I haven't been having any problems like that, though, so I think I should be fine. Ma'am. Huh? What is it? Perhaps I could use my Shagen ability, see if it produces any results. That's an excellent idea. I almost forgot we had such a handy trick up our sleeve. Shagen? What does it do? Patience, Detective. You'll see soon enough. Right. Magic.mp4. There, it's done. Oh, so it went well, did it? Well done, Soto. What's all this about then? Soto can see the face of a deceased from a piece of their remnants, however small. He can sketch their features based on what he saw. Oh, so that's how you got a sketch of the victim in that other case. An ability like that would be priceless if you could use it on the Force, you know. Well, I hear it doesn't always work, so it's unfortunately not foolproof. So, what did our victim look like? About that, I think it might be faster to see for yourself. Hey, is that Mare? That's that's Yuza's mom, right? Like just absolutely. That's the same picture. It's Somakawa. Somakawa, you can't mean. And back into it we go. So this happened before the part that we just happened. So I've been waiting for you. The site where the bones were found is a little ways offshore from this beach. You went ahead and started the investigation, I see. Thanks for that. Not at all. You clearing everything with the local police meant all I had to do was arrive and inspect the remains myself. So to get straight to the point, there's no doubt signs of a curse are clearly evident. The skeletal remains are tied to a supernatural incident. Seems I was right with just my intuition on this one. All right then, let me hear the full report. But first, are there any birdies? Any birdies? Any birdies? No birdies! I hate how it makes your vision completely go away. One of these days, it's actually going to be used for something, and I'm going to be terrified. A few days ago, a fisherman off the coast here hauled up a long, rod-like object. It resembled a human bone, so he notified the police. That was about 10 days ago. So he fished it up completely by chance. Following that, the police conducted an underwater investigation of the surrounding area. They discovered multiple skeletal remains in a fissure beneath the rocks. All the remains were already severely deteriorated, with each being several years to several decades old. As a result, forensics struggled to identify the victims. There was just too little to go on. Only fragments of the skulls remained, so facial reconstruction was apparently not possible. Hardly surprising in such a state. Still, with your ability, we hardly need facial reconstruction, do we? Indeed. I'll report my discoveries shortly. I wonder if those skeletal remains could be the victors of the Kamishima Southern Sea disaster from 5 years ago. Regrettably, that is not the case. Oh, darn it. Please don't sound so defeated. Forensics confirmed 5 bodies in total, but they said that each had decomposed over a different length of time. Oh, meaning they didn't all die at the same time. Correct. The most recent appear to date back 6 years. The others go back to some 10 years before that, and another 10 and another 10, and so on. So roughly one body every 10 years. Indeed, I imagine that any older remains may have simply decayed entirely. Which means someone's been using that fissure as a place to dump corpses for decades. It's surrounded by rock, with minimal currents in the area. It's unlikely they drifted there naturally. Had that bone not been fished up by chance, we'd never have known. In other words, it was the ideal site for quietly disposing of bodies. So this was no accident. Someone did this. I imagine quite some resentment must have piled up over the years. Indeed, but I've already cleansed the lingering resentment in this area. Leaving such resentment to fester could lead to a curse manifesting after all. Efficient, as always. My thanks. Each body bore a clean, precise cut, clearly severed. Severed? You're saying they were sliced straight through the bone? Exactly. Each was sliced down through the bone, all with a clean cut as smooth as the last. Forensics noted that reproducing such uniform cuts would be extremely difficult. Even with industrial equipment, such precision would have been unachievable decades ago. One possible explanation is that a master swordsman wielding a razor-sharp katana cleaved each of them in a single stroke. Yes, well, that would certainly explain it. But warriors don't exactly run around with swords in this day and age. Which brings us to the possibility of a curse, I suppose. Correct, if the cuts were made by supernatural means, the rules change. As it turns out, there were traces of a curse at each of the severed points. It was just a matter of time until we found one. Also, for the briefest moment, I glimpsed a curse echo that looked like a warrior in armor. A curse echo in armor? Yes, judging from the crest on its armor and given our location, it appears to be a curse tied to the Heike, or the Heike. Right, to the Heike. You are familiar with the Heike, I assume. I'm not so sure. The Heike were a branch of the Taira clan, a warrior family who rose to power at the end of the Heian period. The tale of the Heike preserved just how prosperous they were before they fell. Many who lived through the downfall carried deep regrets. Their resentment is especially persistent. Many traces remain even today, and they can be quite meddlesome. Indeed. You hear about it all over the place. I guess even by expert standards, it's quite the problem. I ain't reading all that. What's more, the katana that Kurseko carried, I believe it may have been the famed blade, Nukemaru. So what you're saying is that these skeletal remains were cut and killed by the power of Tadamori's curse? I couldn't say it was Tadamori himself, but I am confident that that it was a curse from someone within the Heike. At the very least, it offers an explanation for those mysteriously perfect cuts. But the body's being dumped every decade. Surely that can't be the curse too, can it? Correct. I imagine that part likely involves further intervention by someone else. So this wasn't an accident by some spontaneous curse. There's a perpetrator out there. My theory is that someone is using a curse stone. They are killing through its curse, then discarding the bodies. A curse stone. Think of it as a talisman that even lets those without spirit sense use the power of curses. They are created when intense resentment fuses with a suitable relic. That sounds dangerously convenient. So in short, whoever's behind this possesses a stone imbued with the Heige's curse. They use it to kill someone roughly every decade, dumping the body into the sea. Yes, that aligns with the evidence. Thank you for the summary. Were you able to use your shotgun, Soto? Yes, I did. It only worked on the most recent body, though, the one from 6 years ago. By viewing part of the remains, I was able to reconstruct a portrait sketch of how he looked when he was alive. I don't think we know anybody who looks like that. We had the police compare the sketch against missing people from 6 years ago, but no matches were found. Darn, would have made things much easier. Say, Soto, that sketch of yours, maybe we should show it to some of the locals. Good point. Someone might recognize him if they were around here 6 years ago. If we can identify the victim, it could help us trace the one who used the curse. I guess we can't just leave things be now that we know that there's a curse involved. Honestly, I'd rather not deal with it. She's staring at me, the player, again. There you go again. Are you sure that's something you should be saying out loud? Obviously not. I just want to get this over with and go home, that's all. Ah yes, we all know how much you love your home. She's just like me, for real for real. You can see the sea from here all the way to Kamishima. Do you sense anything out there, Soto? Yes, I do. The waters south of Kamishira are saturated with the powerful presence of the curse of the raging waves. I can sense it even from this distance, that's how strong it is. Is that so? Looking out to sea, I can't see a thing. I just hope this means we've made it in time. Even during the disaster 5 years ago, the energy was never this overwhelming. The seal has broken, there's no doubt about it. So it's already broken. That isn't good. The sea still seems calm, though. Does the storm not break out immediately? Yes, something seems to be holding it back for now. Oh, so there is a silver lining, at least. It seems stable for the moment. We probably have 2 or 3 days of safety. Then we've got a bit of breathing room. Perhaps there's still something we can do. Oh, I'm so invested in this already. I hope we can do something about the curse of the raging waves while it's still being held back. Yes, despite all efforts, we still haven't found a way to lift the curse. We might have quite a struggle ahead of us. That's really the heart of the problem, isn't it? And we have no idea where your ancestors' keepsake is, either. Nah, I apologize on behalf of my family. Ma'am, behind you. Behind me. Ide? Oh. Hold on. She's got something under her. That's the first time the vision is up. It's her shadow. Hmm? Who's that? Just someone passing from town, passing by. She bolted. Soto, after her. On it. Hey, stop! Let me go. I didn't do nothing wrong. I've apprehended the suspect. Good work. Sorry for the rough handling. Mind helping us out a bit? Hm. What were you doing here? And why did you run? What? Don't get smart with me. You're the suspicious ones, sneaking around and poking into things. You think folks won't be wary with shady types like you wandering through town? I see. Sorry if we gave you a scare. We're with the police. Nothing shady here. You're with the police? Seriously? You've heard about the skeletal remains found nearby, yes? That's what we're looking into. You don't look like police. Say, do you live around here? There's something I'd like you to take a quick look at. Hmm. Do you recognize this face at all? We believe he may have been around here about 6 years ago. Nope, don't know him. I see. Then could you point us in the direction of someone who might know about people coming and going in town? No idea. Ask whoever you want. Can I go now? I don't got nothing to do with this. I don't know a thing. All right. Sorry for holding you up. So she's the dead mermaid body. What a peculiar woman. It was like her mind was somewhere else entirely. Well, either way, we should talk to more people in town. Agreed. Also, could you ask around and find out who that woman is? Of course. Several hours later. Ma'am, I've learned a few things. Excellent. Let's hear it. But first, are there any birdies? There's a birdie! There's a birdie! Oh, it's a ducky! Oh, it's a little ducky! Oh, it's Maverick Minnie!
Oh, he's so angry. Oh, he's a maverick. He doesn't take nothing from nobody.
I also asked around about the woman we encountered earlier. Apparently, she isn't originally from this town. Oh, is that so? Indeed, apparently she wandered into town about 5 years ago. She's been living alone in a cheap rental apartment on the outskirts of town ever since. When she first arrived, she had nothing but an old wooden box which she was clutching as if it were very dear to her. Nothing but an old wooden box. Supposedly, she used to work as an ama diver around when she first moved here. She'd occasionally go diving for fish, but these days she keeps to herself and no one ever sees her diving anymore. No one really knows how she supports herself, and many of the islanders find her unsettling. Perhaps she fled from something and moved her life here. That was suggested, yes, but she's never spoken about her past, so no one knows for sure. Although, according to her landlord, she's never been late on rent. And she's never caused any problems either. Still, seems odd she'd get so worked up about strangers coming to town. Doesn't seem like she's in any position to be worrying about that. You think she might be hiding something? It's possible. Her attitude changed the moment we said we were with the police. Perhaps she was keeping watch over the coast where the bodies were dumped, waiting to see if someone showed up. It could be our mom who went missing. It could be Mare, but I don't know. They look quite not the same. The timing is rather suspicious when you look at it like that. We'd best keep an eye on her. Agreed. Were you able to get her name? Apparently, her last name is Somakawa, but I didn't manage to get her first name. Somakawa? Why does that name sound so familiar? You've heard it before? I think so, but I can't quite remember where. But I'm a woman who cast off her past long ago. I guess I shouldn't let it bother me. Not this again. Let's leave any time-consuming background checks to Detective Ide. Very well, I'll inform him. So this means that woman might have been marking us since we got here. It's possible. I apologize for not noticing sooner. Even in a moment's lapse, I can expose one through a curse. I was careless, but I won't let it happen again. You can be cursed that easily? That's terrifying. What a world we live in. I showed the sketch of the victim to several townsfolk, however, it would seem that no one here recognized him at all. Unfortunate. I suppose chances are he wasn't from this area to begin with. I guess we'll have to place our hopes on Detective Ide then. That concludes all the information I gathered from my inquiries. That helps a lot. Thanks. Shall I summarize our next steps? Yes, I suppose we need to do something about all this. Let's see. Until we can identify the victim from the sketch, we have no other leads to move forward. I believe that this is best left in Detective Ide's hands. Yes, agreed. And I think the same goes for that Somakawa woman from earlier. We'll have Detective Ide look into her. It's nice to have someone you can rely on. Agreed on that end, too. Regarding our main objective with the so-called Curse of the Raging Waves, without knowing how to lift it, there's not much we can do right now. I don't suppose there's a chance you'd be able to break the curse using brute force. You're quite good at that. It's certainly an option if worse comes to worst, but I can't say I have high hopes it would work. I guess it would be more realistic to try and find some clues about the whereabouts of your ancestors' keepsake instead. Indeed, it is said the item may hold the key to lifting the curse of the Raging Waves, but even the location of the map pointing to that keepsake has unfortunately been lost to time. Although the map was said to be hidden inside the model of a mermaid mummy. One rumor says it was sold overseas during the Edo period. Doesn't sound promising. If we can't find it, I guess we're back to trying to break the curse with brute force. But to even consider that route, we need much more intel from the island. Which is why we need to head to Kamishima. At the very least, advise the locals to evacuate. Yes, hopefully someone of influence there will believe us about the curse of the raging waves. Is something wrong? No, it's just that one of the islanders I spoke with seems to be calling me over. Something may have happened, I'll go find out. Please do. The person who called me over shared a new piece of information. They were told to keep it a secret, but opened up since we're with the police. Go on. Earlier this morning, down by the shore, they apparently found something that resembled the corpse of a mermaid. A mermaid? Really? That same person reported it to the local authority and was immediately ordered to tell no one, not even the police. You're kidding me. That local authority then contacted an unknown individual soon after someone came and secretly retrieved the mermaid's corpse. That couldn't be more suspicious, could it? Exactly. They were uneasy about the whole thing, which is why they confided in me. What shall we do? Did they describe what the mermaid looked like? Yes, they said from the head to the shoulders it was human, but below that, entirely fish. It's not the classic mermaid from fairy tales, it would seem. Only the head was human. Hmm. They also said it was completely dried out, almost mummified. The face was unrecognizable. But they thought it resembled a local ama diver named Tamiko Suma. What? Apparently, she went out diving alone this morning and hasn't returned. That's likely what worries the witnesses the most. That is troubling. Damn it, just what we needed. More things to deal with. First things first, let's deal with this mermaid story. Come on. Back into the water we go. Oh, so we had something in between those two. I gotcha. That guy's old as hell. Mr. Yamashina, thank you for agreeing to meet with us on such short notice. I understand you're a busy man. Hmm, not like I have much choice when it's some bigwig from the prefecture of police badgering me to do so. You're also known as an unkakudono, I believe. After hearing so many rumors, it's an honor to make your acquaintance. Yes, I hear you've been doing some, under-the-table research into immortality. And so what if I am?
Birdies! Birdie! It's a birdie! It's oh look at the falcon! The falcon's in the score! He's got a little headband and score.
He's a tycoon with multiple properties and companies to his name, mostly based here in Ise Shima. He's long been rumored of being involved in various shady dealings. I'll get straight to the point. I believe you took a mermaid corpse into your possession this morning.
What? Like I said, I don't know what you're on about. If that's all you came here for, then scram!
Oh, pity. I really thought you'd be interested in what we had to share. Assuming you really are interested in immortality.
Hmm?
I hear you've been searching for a successor, though. Given your strong opinions on the matter, I take it that you're struggling. Though I can see why that would lead to a desire for immortality. After all, there's no need to cede your legacy to someone if you can remain at the reins yourself. Mm-hmm.
That might have been true when I started my research.
Let me clear up one more thing while we're at it. I've already decided on my successor. Oh? Turns out the perfect candidate was right under my nose the entire time. I haven't told them yet. They're a sharp one. They'll do a fine job. Is that so? I'm glad to hear it. I suppose that would mean you no longer have any need for immortality then. Who said I wasn't still interested? It simply has nothing to do with my successor. No need to harp on it about it anymore. Already written up my will and passed it off to my lawyer. You be sure to let your friends at the police know too. There is one thing I should warn you about. Eating the flesh of the mermaid you found won't grant you immortality. And what would you know about that? So you admit you have the mermaid corpse then? Oh, don't worry. We assumed as much from the start. If I'm not mistaken, that mermaid was in sort of a mummified state, no? I doubt you'll be eating it as it is. Surely there's no harm in handing it over. So you can hog it for yourself? You don't think that a rare specimen like that ought to be placed in the care of a proper research institute? I'm saying I'll get a specialist research institute to study it. Problem solved. I suppose so. This doesn't have anything to do with what we came here to talk about. But I'm wondering if you happen to recognize the person in this sketch. It seems he lived on the Isle of Ise-shima. Nope, never seen him. Who might this Wakamura be? Wakamura? He's one of my proteges. He's the one currently in charge over in Kamishima. Used to have high hopes for that one, but then that changed when he came under the thrall of some phony sorcerer in Tokyo. A phony sorcerer in Tokyo? Metal Gear? Just recently he was going on about some curse causing a big storm, that sort of rubbish. A storm caused by a curse, you say? Even the storm 5 years ago was caused by the same curse, he said. He's been trying to wheedle me into helping him find some way to stop it. But I'm done with him and his ramblings. Man's clearly a lost cause. How about this, then? If you agree to give up the mermaid, we'll tell you what we know in return. Sotia exposed as an immortal? I fucking wish. I'm terrified of death. For someone who doesn't seem to believe in the occult, you seem awfully fixated on this mermaid and immortality. Well, I happen to know a bit more about mermaids than most people. Ma'am, are you sure? It's fine. Well, mermaids do indeed have the ability to grant a human immortality. Ha! I knew it. More precisely, individuals granted immortality in this way are known as 800-year immortals. And that's right. As the name suggests, they gain 800 years of remaining life. During this time, they won't age a day, and even if they die, they'll resurrect immediately. Sounds like a real blessing. No, I'm afraid it's anything but. One who defies the very laws of nature like that is no longer human. They're an anomalous being that should not be allowed to exist. As such, our position requires that any such individuals we find are dealt with as swiftly as possible. Indeed, this immortality was originally a curse mermaids placed upon humans. A curse? Immortality is neither a blessing nor salvation for the living. It's a curse that robs them of the ability to die. None of those who have become 800-year immortals have found happiness. Not one. It renders living among other humans impossible and makes them an outcast from society. Of course, there are a few years at first when life will be tolerable. But after that, every meeting ends in parting. You outlive whomever you love or are loved by. Even if you find acceptance, it will only be for a time. You will always be shunned, eventually. You'll experience this over and over for 800 years. 800 years unable to die, with loneliness as your constant companion. In any case, there are also certain conditions that must be met for this curse of immortality to be effective. Eating mermaid's flesh alone isn't enough to make you an 800-year immortal. Oh, and what exactly are these conditions? Sorry to disappoint, but I'm not aware of the specifics there myself. But I can say this much at least. The mummy you have in your possession is no mermaid. Huh? Bullshit! Ain't no way that's anything other than a mermaid. What I mean to say is that mummy is a different being from the mermaids who wield this curse. Not all half-fish, half-human beings are mermaids, you see. In fact, calling them all by the same name is what leads to mishaps like this one. Say what? You mean to tell me that's not a mermaid, that real mermaids are a completely separate thing? That's right. Which is why I can say with much confidence that eating its flesh won't make you immortal. So what is that thing then? There's gotta be a reason you're after it. I imagine that even if you had it dissected and examined, all results would point to it being just a mass of fibers. In other words, nothing more than a man-made fake. There's a very good reason for that. You see, that mummy is merely the corpse of an average human, twisted beyond recognition by the curse of the Forsaken Fish. What? Another curse? Another curse wielded by mermaids, as it happens. That would be the remains of someone who died under it. It also happens to be the same curse responsible for the mermaids found every few hundred years or so across the country. You see now why we'd rather you handed the mermaid over to us. The poor soul deserves a proper burial, same as anyone else. Surely even you're not so hard-headed or hard-hearted as to deny them that. Curses this, curses that. It's all a bunch of hokum, if you ask me. That said, the report I got from the Research Institute earlier said exactly the same thing. Then I take it you've already had the mermaid desiccated then. They said it was likely a fake, but asked if I wanted them to keep going anyway. I told them to keep at it, but, It should be clear now that you have nothing to gain from researching that corpse, least of all information on immortality. Won't you consider handing it over? Of course, we could always take you in on charges of abandonment and desecration of a corpse. All right, have it your way. I'm so glad you've come around. Thank you for your cooperation. I'll give you the damn mermaid, but in exchange I want you to tell me one thing. What is it? You say there are real mermaids out there. Where are these real mermaids hiding, then? I suppose you could call it the eternal world. The eternal world. Yes, mermaids are not creatures of this world, you see. Their original home is Ryugu, the domain of the sea god. Ryugu? And how do you get there? I'm sorry to say that Ryugu's doors are only open to the dead. Going there is impossible for a living human. That said, the entrance to Ryugu is said to lie somewhere in the Issei Sea. There have been numerous sightings of mermaids crossing over to this world in the area's long history, which is why Issei Bay has its share of mermaid legends too. Now that you mention it, I have heard of one of those stories too. Some old tale about the mermaids being found on some long-lost island called Taishima or the like. What? Wait a moment, where did you hear that story? Caught your interest, have I? Looks like the story has some merit to it after all. I was simply surprised, that's all. It's not a name I've come across in any historical records. It's just something I heard from one of the young'uns I have out there looking for mermaids. I see. Sounds like you've got a capable young hand. I don't suppose it would be possible to meet with this individual. Nope, not happening. Unless you're willing to spill the beans on everything you know about mermaids, every last bit of info. Maybe, just maybe, I'd consider it then. It's clear you're no ordinary housewife after all. Not interested? Then this meeting is over. I'll hand the corpse over to the police as promised. But don't think I've given up on mermaids or immortality. If they really exist, I'll find them and make them mine. Plop. Oh, Issei City. 1980X, 20 years before Mega Man. Any birdies? Any birdies on the ground? Any birdies in the air? Are there any birdies? So I got all hands on deck to go around asking about that sketch you gave me. And we finally found someone who recognized the victim. Oh, that's great news. The person who recognized him was a housewife in her 20s who lived in Kumano 7 years ago. Apparently the sketch looks like a 19-year-old she knew who left the village to go to the city. So 7 years ago, he was 19 now. From the sound of it, the guy had no relatives to speak of, left the village with nothing but the clothes on his back. Did we get a name for our mystery man? Sure did. His name was Kipei Ikoma. Oh yeah, I also looked into that lady you were asking about, Somakawa. Oh yes. Did you find anything? Well, it seems she hasn't registered as a resident even though she moved here over 5 years ago. So nothing came up for Somakawa in the civil registry either. So I'm afraid I don't have anything on who she is or where she came from. Sorry to disappoint. It seems we have quite the mystery woman on our hands. Yeah, there is something I've been wondering about. Oh, let's hear it. You have some idea who she might be. Well, have you heard of the Kamishima Southern Sea disaster? It was a big maritime disaster that struck 5 years back. I have, yes. One of the victims of that disaster was an ama diver and housewife from Kamishima by the name of Mare Minakuchi. But it seems her maiden name was Somakawa. Oh, it's Yua's mom! It's Yusa's mom! It's Yusa's mom! It's Yusa's mom! It is Yusa's mom! So our mystery woman shares a surname with a maritime disaster victim. I'm impressed you managed to dig that up. I was already looking into the Kamishima disaster because of the skeletal remains, so it was a happy coincidence if anything. Oh, so you thought they might be related too. I'm glad it wasn't just me. Anyway, it seems like the body of those disaster victims were never found in the end, which got me thinking... Wait, are you saying... Yeah. I was thinking Mari Minakuchi could have survived the disaster 5 years ago. And you think she then moved to Ikija and started going by her old name of Somakawa again? That's right. What do you think? Seems like a long shot, but maybe. If that's the case, why would she have stayed in Ikija for 5 whole years without thinking to contact her family? Maybe she lost her memories in the disaster? Right. If she only had her old memories to rely on, it wouldn't be that odd if she went back to using her old name. Surely her appearance would still be the same, though. If it is difficult to imagine no one recognizing her for 5 whole years. It's possible she just never ran into anyone she knew. That kind of thing's more likely than you'd think. Speaking of appearances, I found a picture of Mare Minakuchi from a report on the disaster. I haven't met this Somakawa myself, so could you take a look for me and let me know what you think? Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. What do you think, Soto? Hmm. She aged 5 years and grown badly gone. I can certainly see how this woman might come to resemble Miss Somakawa. My thoughts, exactly. This is just what I've heard, but it seems like the islanders over in Kamashina think this Mare Minakuchi was the cause of the disaster 5 years ago. What? Why would they think that? No idea, but it seems like it's pretty much taken for granted by most of the folks over there. Even just mentioning her name is some sort of taboo. So I was thinking it wouldn't be that odd if she felt she couldn't go back home because of that. Surely not. Seems as good a reason as why she wouldn't want to come forward anyway. If she really is related to the storm 5 years ago, she's a point of interest regarding her connection to the skeletal remains. Perhaps it's worth looking into that first. Could I leave talking to Miss Somakawa to you two then? We'll handle that yet. So we know what happened to Miss Somazawa. It became the the corpse that we saw earlier that was morphed. So people believe this Mare Minakuchi called forth the curse of the raging waves 5 years ago, do they? Wait, that's it, I remember now. The sole survivor of Taishima, his surname was Somakawa. Was there something else at Somakawa? A wooden box. Surely that'd be too much of a coincidence. We'll see if I can find Somakawa again, hear what she has to say. I don't think that's gonna happen. She's dead. She turned halfway into a fish. Bad news, ma'am. It seems we were a step too late. Hmm? What do you mean? It seems someone came and took that Somakawa woman out to sea just a few minutes ago. What? According to the witness, a foreign man came to the port with Miss Somakawa in tow. They then boarded a motorboat that was moored there and headed out into the bay. It didn't appear to be by force, so we can probably assume that they knew each other. A foreign man. Not sure what's going on, but we should probably get a boat and follow, just in case. Yes, let's see if... Soto? What's wrong? That spiritual force is overwhelming. My body won't move. What's going on? Ugh. That girl over there, what is she doing? You can withstand this curse. You really are quite strong, mister. Sorry, but I can't let you go any further. I'll have to ask you to leave. Voitikos Pneuma, guardian spirit, grant me the wisdom of the numinous. O high guiding spirit, light my path ahead. It seems like they've saved us the effort of searching for them. So it seems. Let's see if this girl can tell us what we want to know.